Reports say Ukraine has agreed to withdraw the complaint against Poland, Slovakia and Hungary made to the World Trade Organization. Earlier this month, Hungary, Poland and Slovakia extended a ban on Ukrainian grain. Ukraine filed a lawsuit with the WTO over the issue. This heightened tensions between Ukraine and the three countries. Now, Kyiv's lawsuit has been withdrawn on the condition that the three countries will not impose similar restrictions in the future. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky met with British Defence Secretary Grant Shapps in Kiev. They spoke about bolstering the country's air defences. This is amid fears that Russia will use long-range missiles to target critical energy infrastructure during the winter. Taiwan has unveiled its first domestically developed submarine. It is being seen as the island's major step towards safeguarding itself from China. With this new submarine, Taipei also aims to modernize its armed forces. Meanwhile, China's defense ministry has said that the submarine is attempting to do something impossible. China claims Taiwan as its own territory, and Beijing stages almost daily military exercises to assert its sovereignty in the region. North Korea has adopted a constitutional amendment. This is to enshrine its policy on nuclear force. The country's leader, Kim Jong-un, has pledged to accelerate the production of nuclear weapons. Kim says this is to deter provocations from the United States. A powerful explosion has rocked Uzbekistan. The blast occurred at a warehouse near capital city Tashkent's airport. A teenage boy died after a window frame fell on him. 162 people were injured, out of which 24 have been hospitalized. The cause of the explosion is not immediately clear. A special laboratory has been set up at the scene to investigate the blast. Republican lawmakers clashed with each other in the second Republican presidential debate yesterday. They debated on topics ranging from political differences with China to the US economy. The presidential frontrunners also leveled attacks on their competitor, former US President Donald Trump, who was absent from the show. Donald Trump skipped both yesterday's Republican presidential debate and the first one in Wisconsin last month. Meanwhile, Donald Trump delivered an address in the US state of Michigan. This is where the employees of America's United Auto Workers Union have been protesting against the Detroit three automakers. He was there to cast himself as a fighter for union workers. Trump was seeking their leaders' endorsement for his presidential bid. He delivered a sustained attack on current US President Joe Biden's electric vehicle policies, saying it will kill the auto industry. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has apologized for his parliament's honouring of a Nazi. Last week, Canada's former House Speaker Anthony Rota called a 98-year-old Ukrainian Nazi veteran a hero. Rota has also apologized and he has resigned from the position yesterday. Mexico has launched an operation to move asylum seekers from its southern border. Authorities say they had deployed 189 buses and 73 vans to transport over 8,000 migrants. They will be moved to other locations in Mexico from where they can start asylum applications to the US. Peru's President Dina Boluarte has been questioned by prosecutors. She is being probed for the alleged crimes of genocide, aggravated homicide, and causing serious injuries. This is related to her potential involvement in the deaths of anti-government protesters late last year. The protests had broken out following the ouster of former President Pedro Castillo last December. When Boluarte took over, demonstrators called for her resignation and early elections. Thousands of protesters, including indigenous groups, took to the streets across the South American country of Colombia. They were there to show support for President Gustavo Petro's policies that have been presented to Congress. Petro's reforms center around health, farming, education, and labor. He has vowed to reduce poverty and inequality in the country. However, a lack of support in Colombia's Senate has slowed Petro's proposals in the Congress. A group of Catholic Church abuse victims and their advocates are walking to demand justice. They have called on Pope Francis to enforce zero tolerance against clerical sex abuse. The group of 10 people are walking the last 130 kilometers along a trail that connects England's Canterbury to Rome. This comes ahead of a major Vatican summit starting next week. In climate news, heavy rains have caused flooding in parts of Greece. In the coastal town of Volos, streets were flooded due to Storm Ilias. Meteorologists warned that the storm was expected to bring hail as well. Greek authorities have asked people to restrict their travels. Central Vietnam has been hit by severe floods. Thousands of people were stranded without food, clean water and electricity. Heavy rains led to a rapid rise in water levels in Vietnam's Ha Tinh province. It forced residents to evacuate their homes, and one person has reportedly gone missing in the area. 6 young climate activists from Portugal are waging a legal battle against 32 European governments over climate change. These activists belong to those areas in Portugal that have been ravaged by wildfires and heat waves. They say that their human rights were violated because the 32 governments failed to act fast enough on climate change. The case will be heard by the European Court of Human Rights. People in London protested against their government's decision to give a go-ahead to one of its biggest new oil and gas projects in years. Protesters gathered outside Britain's Department of Energy Security and Net Zero. The UK's Energy Security Minister Claire Coutinho said that the new project would bring security to the country's power sector. As a part of the new project, the Rosebank oil and gas field in the North Sea will be exploited. It is expected to produce 300 million barrels of oil in its lifetime. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has indicated that he will take more steps to help the country transition to low carbon emissions. He declared that the right decisions are needed to ensure that Australia emerges as a global player in the renewable energy sector. Albanese says that there is an enormous opportunity for Australia to become a renewable energy superpower. Arctic sea ice likely reached its minimum extent on the 19th of September. This is according to a report released by NASA. Meanwhile, Antarctica sea ice reached its lowest minimum extent on the 10th of September. Scientists said this happened at a time when ice cover should be growing at a much faster pace. Researchers in New Zealand are set to investigate how climate change could increase the risk of damage triggered by earthquakes and landslides. A team at the University of Canterbury said that a warming climate and frequent storms will have a profound impact on people's lives and property. Data shows that landslides have caused more deaths in New Zealand than any other natural hazard. The International Energy Agency or IEA has said that Russia's war in Ukraine has helped put the world on a path to net zero emissions of greenhouse gases by the year 2050. The report highlights that governments and individuals rushed to install solar panels and wind farms. These steps helped stop the use of fossil fuels in some areas. The IEA has said that the world is set to invest $1.8 trillion in clean energy this year. This needs to climb to about $4.5 trillion a year by 2030. On to business and tech news. Trading in shares of China's Evergrande group has been suspended. This was after a report said that the company's chairman has been placed under a police watch. Evergrande has more than $300 billion in liabilities. In 2021, it emerged as the face of a debt crisis in China's property sector, which has also gravely affected Beijing's growth. The property sector contributes to roughly a quarter of the country's economy. Reports say HSBC is set to acquire Citigroup's China consumer wealth management business. Citi's China wealth business manages more than $3 billion in assets. The financial details of the transaction is not yet known. The deal could be announced as soon as next month. Retailer H&M says unusually hot weather has delayed the start of its autumn shopping season. It has blamed the weather for its lower September sales. Meanwhile, Zara owner Inditex reported its sales rose by 14%. The drop-off in H&M sales is a blow to the world's second largest fashion retailer. This comes as H&M is trying to turn around its performance and compete with Inditex. Airbnb is expecting to host as many as 500,000 people in Paris during the 2024 Olympics. This is according to its CEO Brian Chesky. Chesky has asked more Parisians to put up their homes for rent to cater to the demand. This is amid fears that prices could skyrocket and accommodation could become unaffordable for some. Paris's tourism office expects some 16 million people to visit Paris during the games next summer. Hyundai and Kia are recalling a total of 3.37 million vehicles in the United States. This is due to the risk of engine fires. Hyundai says it has received reports of 21 fires, while Kia has at least 10 such reports. The company have advised owners to park their vehicles outside until repairs are complete. This is to prevent any further accidents. Reports say Japan's Toyota is planning to build a third car plant in India. Toyota wants the plant to start with an initial capacity of 80,000 to 120,000 vehicles a year. This could grow to around 200,000 over time. The financial or specific location details of the deal are not known yet. Social media platform X could turn a profit in early 2024. This is according to its Chief Executive Officer Linda Yaccarino. The company last reported a profit in the year 2019. X is also facing a number of lawsuits that allege it has failed to pay rent and millions of dollars in severance to its former employees. Meanwhile, the tech giant is also struggling to retain its advertisers, which is one of its main sources of revenue. Indonesia has banned e-commerce transactions on social media platforms. This is a major blow to TikTok, which sees Indonesia as one of its main markets. Earlier this month, the video sharing app pledged to invest billions of dollars in the country. This was to boost its e-commerce business TikTok Shop. Vendors who rely on the platform for sales are concerned that the move will hurt their income. Snapchat owner Snap Inc. is shutting down its augmented reality division within just months of its launch. The closure will result in about 170 job cuts. The company had launched its AR division in March this year. With this new vertical, Snap was looking to diversify its revenue beyond digital advertising. However, the division struggled to pick up, leading to its shutdown. Reports say ChatGPT owner OpenAI is talking to investors. This is regarding a possible sale of its shares. The share sale could fetch as a much higher price than just a few months ago. The deal could reportedly value OpenAI at $90 billion. This would be 3 times the level seen earlier this year. Moving to sports, here are the updates from the Asian Games. India won a gold medal in the men's 10-meter air pistol team event. The trio of Sarabjot Singh, Shiva Narwal and Arjun Singh Cheema finished with a total of 1734 points. China finished second, trailing by just 1 point, and Vietnam were 4 points behind India to finish third. India's now-RM Roshibina Devi won a silver medal in the martial arts sport of Wushu. Devi lost to a Chinese opponent in the women's 60 kg category. After the medal ceremony, Devi dedicated the win to her wushu teammates from the Indian state of Arunachal Pradesh. Remember, 3 wushu athletes from Arunachal Pradesh were forced to skip the Asian Games after China denied them proper travel visas. Moving to other sports, in cricket, Australia beat India by 66 runs in the third and final ODI match of the bilateral series. Visitors Australia batted first and put up a target of 353 runs in their innings. India were bowled out for 286 with 2 balls remaining. However, India still won the 3-match ODI series 2-1. Sri Lankan cricketer Dhanushka Gunathilaka was found not guilty of sexually assaulting a woman. The judgment was made by a court in the Australian city of Sydney. Last year, a woman in Sydney had accused Gunathilaka of sexual assault. He was suspended from the Sri Lankan national team over the incident. Afghanistan pacer Naveen-ul-Haq has announced his retirement. The bowler says that the upcoming One-Day World Cup will be his last international stint. The announcement has shocked fans of the Afghan bowler, and that's because Naveen-ul-Haq is only 24 years old and has been a key member of the Afghan squad in one-day international cricket. In football, Manchester City crashed out of the English Football League Cup. This was after hosts Newcastle United beat Manchester City 1-0 in last night's match. Alexander Isak scored for Newcastle in the 53rd minute to pull off the upset. Arsenal beat Brentford 1-0 to advance in the EFL Cup. Rice Nelson scored early in the 8th minute for the Gunners. Despite Brentford having more attempts at goal, they were unsuccessful in scoring the equaliser. Arsenal will play West Ham in the next round of the EFL Cup in October. Chelsea beat Brighton 1-0 in the third round of the English Football League Cup. The match was played at Stamford Bridge last night. Both teams went into half-time scoreless. In the 50th minute, Nicholas Jackson scored the winning goal for Chelsea. PSG left back Nuno Mendes will undergo surgery this week. The 21-year-old defender has sustained a torn hamstring. He is likely to be sidelined for an additional 4 months. Mendes has not started for PSG since April due to the injury. After a successful MotoGP debut, officials want to revive the spectacle of Formula One racing in India. Organizers say talks are currently underway to bring back F1 racing to the Budh International Circuit near New Delhi. If the talks are successful, F1 racing will make a comeback to India by 2025. The last F1 race in India was held in 2013 and saw Red Bull's Sebastian Vettel dominate the track. In entertainment news, the Hollywood Actors Union will meet studio representatives on Monday for negotiations. This meeting will resume the strike negotiations between the actors and major Hollywood studios. Actors have reportedly requested a neutral venue for the negotiations. The members of the Hollywood Actors Union have been on strike since July. With the Hollywood writers' strike ending, studios are now waiting for the Actors Union to settle their differences as well. The studios have reportedly made a priority list of shows and films. Paramount Studios reportedly wants writers to fine-tune its existing projects like Star Trek and Rainbow Six. Meanwhile, a fundraiser is scheduled for 25th October to raise money for striking members of Hollywood. The event is being organized by the Union Solidarity Coalition or TUSC. TUSC was formed by writers and producers to help families affected financially by the strike. The fundraiser is supposed to be a live telethon-style event in Los Angeles. English comedian Russell Brand is now asking his fans for financial help. This comes after YouTube suspended the monetization of his channel. Brand appealed to his fans to follow him on other video platforms. The comedian is reportedly under investigation for several sexual offences. Brand, however, has denied all allegations against him. Actor Sophie Turner is residing in singer Taylor Swift's New York house with her kids. This comes after Turner's divorce case started with her husband Joe Jonas. Jonas reportedly filed for a divorce earlier this month. The estranged couple decided to temporarily keep their kids in New York. Reports say Taylor Swift and Sophie Turner's friendship has bloomed recently. American actor Johnny Depp has commenced shooting for his upcoming film ODI. It's about the Italian artist Emilio Modigliani. Depp will star in this film with actors Luisa Ranieri and Al Pacino. The film also reportedly marks Depp's return to the director's chair after 25 years. Johnny Depp was last seen in romance drama movie John de Bury. Actor Angelina Jolie reveals that she took on less work after parting ways with her former husband Brad Pitt. Jolie said in an interview that she and Pitt had a lot of healing to do. She also said that she hasn't been herself in the last decade. Jolie added that her 6 kids helped her through the emotional turmoil. Angelina Jolie filed a divorce from Brad Pitt in 2016, accusing him of physical and verbal abuse. Director and screenwriter Sam Ismail says he received valuable insights from former US President Barack Obama for a film. Obama apparently gave script notes for Ismail's upcoming film, Leave the World Behind. The film is based on a novel of the same name. The film, starring Julia Roberts and Ethan Hawke, is being produced by Obama's production company. It is slated for release in theatres on 22nd November this year. English pop band The 1975 have decided to go on an indefinite break. The band's lead singer Matty Haley made the formal announcement on Tuesday. No reason has been given for this decision. The band was performing in California's Sacramento City. The 1975's break will start after its final tour show in Amsterdam next year. TV personalities Jennifer Aydin and Daniel Cabral have resumed shooting for the reality TV show The Real Housewives of New Jersey. Reports said they were suspended a few days ago after a physical altercation on set. Aydin had allegedly pushed Cabral while they were shooting. Both were then given written warnings from the production house.